Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest football tournament in the world begins in Qatar, November 20th. And of course, all the wonderful, sweet countries that have qualified are going there to win gold, even England. Now, the question is very simple, and I'll start with Big Dunk. Based on the team that Gareth Southgate has put out for this World Cup, can England bring it home?
Can they? You worded your question very well there, JJ. Can they win it? Yeah, they could win it. Are they going to win it? No, I don't think they are going to win it.
And is this because of your wonderful dislike for Southgate or just based on the team selection?
He's brought it upon himself, JJ. He's brought it upon himself. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of the team selection. Okay, he's got a point. He can't be changing the team wholesale every time. That's fair enough. He can keep some players in there that have performed well for England in the past. Yeah, but I just think we're seeing some players are going to miss out on a World Cup and left at home for players that are probably going to be in the squad and just fill out a squad role and maybe never play in any games because they've been in his squads before. Maybe like a player like Henderson. I don't think Henderson deserves to be near that squad this time. There's been lots of debate about Maguire. I can possibly see the reasoning behind including him, but overall, I'm the one that got me the most was leaving Tomori out when we have defensive issues and he leaves Tomori at home. A guy that won Serie A with AC Milan last season. It boggles my mind.
Well, saying all that though, and before we start talking about the players that he didn't select, and even before we talk about the players that he did select, the angry one, with managers, we tend to know what their criteria is for picking a team. With Southgate, everybody's a bit confused because he says at one point he'll say he's picking the player for form, and the other point he'll say he's picking the player, because it suits his style. Now, with the team that he has selected, especially when you look at the defense, he has Alexander Arnold, Cody, Dyer, Maguire, Shaw, Stones, Trippier, Kyle Walker, and Ben White. Now, Donk mentioned no Tomori. There's no Chris Smalling that's been in form for Roma. Alexander Arnold obviously has had some injuries. What do you think his criteria is? And if you don't know what it is generally, what do you think it was for this particular tournament?
Well, he's just picking favourites, isn't it? I don't rate him just for that alone. I rated him beforehand because he was a bit more braver in the early days. But now he's just picking favourites. You should be in the squad on merit, barring the fact that you're a world-class player, a world-class talent, and you can probably get in regardless because you just know that they probably will be able to do something because they're world-class. At the moment, that's Harry Kane for England, but I'm not even sure he's even world-class, to be honest, but he's the best striker that England have got. Or Harry Kane, which you know is on the plane. Everybody else really should be on merit. There's a few players that should have been in on merit, and they weren't. People like Maguire. Come on, we've talked about it enough now, to be honest. But yeah, for that, I don't rate him because you're just bringing the same old guys, and it's a bit demoralizing for you to be left out for when you're in good form and you're playing well for some guy who's basically it's like a mates club. It's like the old days, caps for boys sort of thing, and you just bring your mates in and because you trust them and you get on with them. That's not how it should be. It should be on merit, and it's not at the moment.
When we did our last show for the Premier League, Mr. Hinder, and you selected your team so far, the team of the season so far, you did mention something how you were picking the team based on stats, not based on your gut feeling. Do you think Southgate selects the England squad based on his gut feeling, the team that he thinks would do well, not dependent on form and stats?
You can't pick a team on stats when you're looking at going to a World Cup. You also need to make sure that you're trusting the players that you're bringing in. It's too big of a tournament to risk and go, you know what, this guy's been playing really well for Newport County. Let's pull him up to the World Cup. You need to be realistic with who it is. Yes, it's disappointing when some players that you think should make it. I think the bigger issue for Southgate is getting it wrong. Getting it wrong's harder. Whoever comes in next will obviously make some massive wholesale changes. It is
whoever comes in next. Is this his last tournament already?
Yeah, it will be his last tournament. He said 3 cycles. 3 cycles is the last, right?
What if he wins it?
You win it, you leave. What's the point? You lose it, you leave. You win it, you're not going to achieve it again, right? It doesn't happen where you stay. You could, but once you've achieved it, you've done everything you can in the pinnacle. But
he ain't winning it anyway. Let's get that straight.
I mean, that's a different story. But I think Duncan is half right, and I think it comes from an area of we want certain players to be in the team because we feel that they're going to come in and do it. It's a brave man to say I'm going to leave out Harry Maguire, who's done well for England. Let's not mistake. Harry Maguire hasn't really been, the absolute mess he was for United last season. He hasn't done that for England, and say actually we're gonna drop you and play someone else because he hasn't really let him down. So yes, he's going to pick him because he hasn't let him down. Why would you not pick somebody that hasn't let you down and performed well? He didn't have a crap Euros.
Can I ask you a
He had
question,
a very good Euros. Yeah.
So I take your point, but then all these players that are not getting in, they're not even getting a sniff in friendlies or stuff. So we can at least.
No, and that was my second point.
It's
I
fine.
agree.
Yeah.
My second point was he needed to have changed this before, right? So you need to put in Tomori, and he's only got 3 caps for England, and that looks like it was on the back of him not playing for Canada or Nigeria to make sure that we had him available. He should have been bedded into the area of the squad. Maybe he doesn't like him because he's not playing in the Premier League and wants him to be more familiar with the surrounds. I don't know.
What about Jude?
There's got to be, but the I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think we'd all agree that defense is one of the only ones that we're kind of worried about. The other players potentially in there, not really that bothered, but the defense, you're like, centre backs. Oh, who have we got? Full backs, fine, but centre backs, that's probably the only concern that I've got in that whole entire team. Everything else is as good as we've got. I don't think there's anyone missed out, unless anyone else has got someone that's missed out that feels they should have been in.
As good as we've got, as Mr. Hinder has said, in terms of all the other positions apart from the defense.
Centre backs.
Big Steve, with Goalkeepers Union, you have Pickford, you have Pope, and you have Ramsdale. I'm sure you give your seal of approval. In terms of in terms of defense, though, Alexander-Arnold, Cody, Dyer, Maguire, Shaw, Stones, Trippier, Kyle Walker, and Ben White. Now, Mr. Hinder just mentioned it to take a brave man not to pick Harry Maguire because he has done well for England. Do you agree with that? That's one. And two, when we're looking at the team or we're looking at the players in defense, could you mention a few? Dunk mentioned, Tomori not making it. Can you mention a few other players that you think should be in there compared to what they actually have there?
Defensively, Tomori, as you said, Tomori is the standout one. You've got what's his name, Gay from Crystal Palace. It was an outside chance to go because he's doing well. The problem with I think England has with the centre backs that they've chosen is that the majority of them look only good in the 3, as in Maguire, Dyer, and Cody. There's a big reliance on, say, someone like Kyle Walker coming back, being fit, or Trippier to actually have the pace at the back. My preference, if it was me, out of the fullbacks, I would actually play Trippier left back and Kyle Walker right back, because I don't think Luke Shaw's anything fantastic. To me, Trippier can do a better job than him at left back and give you the set piece threat.
Luke Shaw, goal scorer in the final of the Euros. Top form, Manchester United. You don't think he's all that?
No. I think, but I'll feel more comfortable playing Trippier left back and Kyle Walker right back. To be honest,
could it be possible? Is it possible, Dunk, that in terms of when you're looking at the quality and the standards, everybody says the Premier League is the best league in the world. Tomori plays for Italian side AC Milan. Smalling plays for Roma. So is there a possibility, and this is me doing my CNN style, as you said, is there a possibility that Southgate doesn't rate the quality of performances because of the league that they're in? No insult to the leagues. It's just a case of, okay, no, I would rather take a Harry Maguire that hasn't actually played football because he has been there for me all tournaments than to take Tomori. That's one. And then number two, when you're looking at the situation as it is there in terms of why isn't players like Tyrone Mings in there? You have defenders like Tyrone Mings. You also have, other centre backs in the Premier League that he could have taken instead of Harry Maguire. What do you think is his thought process, Dunk?
On the first one, yeah, he's got Jude Bellingham in there. Like, I don't care what he says. He seems to be like swayed by public opinion on some things and not others. I think Tomori, to me, I can't fathom why he's not in the squad. Like, I think he should be in around the starting lineup for England personally. Like, what else could it be other than Southgate's not putting as much emphasis on players who play overseas, which I think is a bad way to go about things. I think Bellingham, sorry, Steve.
Sorry to cut you down. Is he only playing Jude Bellingham because Calvin Phillips was injured?
But Calvin Phillips is also in the team.
But
but
playing
Jude, if Calvin Phillips didn't get injured, would Jude Bellingham have got his chance?
Probably not. England? But I think there was a load of the public were clamouring for Jude Bellingham to get starts as well, and I think he gave into that. And it's worked out. Calvin Phillips, I'm not sure he deserves his place in the squad, possibly because that maybe there's no other out and out CDM in the England players that he could have picked from. But like someone like Henderson is just there to like
Ward-Prowse.
Ward-Prowse. I would definitely have put Ward-Prowse over Henderson. Like, I think he's just there to be a strong character in the dressing room. Again, like just goes to what Southgate's mentality that he's just going to use certain players and there's going to be a lot of fringe players. Second question, remind me what you're saying, but defensively, the second question. Again, he's like Mike say, he's with Maguire, he's picking his favourites. Like he's done it. He's like Maguire's performed for him in the last couple of tournaments. So you are taking a bit of a gamble. Like he's not performed for Man U this season. So Southgate's just saying, look, he's performed for me. I'm going to go with him. And, you know, that's a risk. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe Maguire will surprise everyone and have a great performance. But that's the kind of decision that could hurt us. That could really backfire and could see us going home out of one of the knockout rounds.
So, Mr. Hinder, you said you were happy with every other position in terms of selection, apart from the defense. So you're happy with the forwards, you're happy with the midfielders, happy with the goalkeepers. With the defenders, who else would you have added to that squad? Who would you have taken and who would you have left?
I mean, I wasn't happy with Henderson, but I see why he's picked him. I think Tomori is the only one. Tyrone Mings, no way. No.
Why?
No. He fell out of his manager before, right? So he's obviously got temperamental issues with what's going on, but he's not good enough. We want, when we're talking about Tomori, like we want top quality centre backs in the team that lead by example, and like it's a big step up when you're looking at that goal. Tyrone Mings doesn't perform week in week out good enough for Villa. So if we're going to pick players on form, then no, I'm going to pick Harry Maguire on terrible form over terrible form Mings. So Tomorrow's the only one really missing, right? There's a few injuries. Reece James got injured. It was unfortunate, but like we don't have. And I was saying it earlier when I was talking to my dad and my wife. Like we don't have the team that we used to have. This is not a golden generation. This is the best that we've got. I'm not saying that the players are bad, but the footballing standard at the moment of that England team isn't whetting the appetite. And maybe in general that there's not that many top quality players. Kane looks like he's on a decline, but still our best striker. There's just not an excitement around it. There's not a buzz of going, do you know what, we've got this guy this year, or we've got this. There's none of that. There's none of the Michael Owens
coming through, though, isn't it?
Foden probably the newest.
Foden. But Tomori, Tony, other players should have been starting to play these guys earlier and bed them
Tony
in over
kind of like a little bit older, right? He's not old, but more older than I would have hoped that we were going to be bringing players in that would be like really early 20s to get the excitement going. Going, right, these are
if
guys
he's banging the goals, who cares how old he is?
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, he is, but he still hasn't scored as many as Kane. That's what I'm saying. We're not replacing, which is my biggest issue. I'm just
you can't
not
just play
as
with
excited.
the same team over and over again, and Southgate seems to only pick players. So Jude Bellingham was in the squad before, so he knows him, so he's seen him training.
Yeah.
That's why he's playing now. If he hadn't been in the squad earlier, he wouldn't be in it now. So once you're in the squad, you're in for life. But it looks like basically, but that's not the way you should be approaching each tournament. Each tournament should be done on its own merit. Yeah, you've got your favourites or your stalwarts, but they still have to be on form. And yeah, you've got your big characters that you have in there, but that shouldn't be at the expense of somebody's actual place who's going to actually play to actually win you a game. Hendo ain't winning you no game.
No,
Who
Hender's
cares
not
if
going to win a game. But this is a 4-year process, right? Or 2 year after the Euros of these are the players that we were expecting to be in the team. It wasn't like we were expecting some really whack end of players to come in and go, oh, geez, he's dropped Kane and put Tony in because we think Tony's going to score more goals.
My point is that we don't know because he hasn't been playing. He hasn't been bedding in enough or giving other players enough chances for us to see what the other options are.
I don't think they've been consistently good enough over 2 years to prove their points.
How are they going to ensure they're good enough if they're not in the squad?
I'm about
why are you playing Harry Kane every single game?
Because he's that damn good.
Why?
Why would you drop him?
But
what in a friendly? Does Harry Kane need to be playing a friendly?
We don't think we have friendlies, do we?
Does he? He doesn't.
We have that rubbish league that we have today.
But as Duncan said, Southgate seems to be a manager that goes with popular opinion. Yeah,
sometimes
because even look at the goalkeeping
because
situation.
he didn't go with Tomori. That was a popular opinion. So
and he went with Maguire. That wasn't popular.
Yeah, so
Hendo wasn't popular.
Yeah, so he picks So Mr. Hinders said, apart from Hendo, which he understands why he's there but doesn't really see it, and Tomori, Big Steve, who is missing in this squad that you think Southgate should have picked? Obviously, other than Tomori, or who is in the squad that shouldn't be in the squad to you?
And who are you replacing them with?
I'd replace Mason Mount with Ivan Toney. I'll put an extra striker up there. What Mason Mount gives to that squad or to that team when he's there, I can get through someone like Conor Gallagher. And Conor Gallagher's at least got some form. Mason Mount has no form. And I'd put an extra striker in terms of Toney because he can do both sides of the job, play with his back to goal, getting behind, he's dominating in the air. So it gives you an extra option. Also, Callum Wilson can have the odd injury concern about him. So having 3 proper strikers in there, and you need goals to win tournaments.
Well, now that you said
Spain
that,
win without a striker.
Force 9.
Yeah,
that's a different level of football, though. England not capable of.
I'm just saying,
England are not.
Everyone's like they've got a player, and you're like, you're still one. You don't need to have. You're not going to take 3 strikers. It seems an inordinate amount to take when you've got that many good quality wingers or players that can fill in those positions for the games. Would you do suddenly go 3 at the top because you need 3 strikers to play?
No, but they're talking about Harry Maguire can go and they can use him as a striker if the games need to change. If they get into a situation they need to win the game, so why don't I take a striker?
It's played up front. I mean,
because at the end of the day,
it's
not to say I'm I'm dropping someone who's on form. Like Mason Mount hasn't been doing it. So if I lose Mason Mount out of the England squad, I've got Conor Gallagher, I've got Phil Foden, I've got Grealish, I've got Maddison. I've got players that can still do what he does and still give myself an additional option to have a striker. I could play 2 up front, Kane and Toney, Kane and Wilson. You know what I mean? I can change it up, but to me, he just limited himself. Yeah, he's only got 2 recognised strikers in the squad.
Yeah, I don't think he ever changed it up, does he? I think I've asked before, like, when's he ever played 2 up top for England? Like the reason he's only taken 2 strikers is he will only ever play that way.
Okay, yeah, true.
Well, yeah, his team is to play that way, right? That's the style of what we're going to get with Southgate, which was we're all used to. Is that a bad thing?
Ivan Toney,
yeah, because you should be adaptable.
Ivan Toney is the 3rd highest goal scorer in the Premier League with 10 goals. Of course, Harry Kane, 12, and Haaland has 18 goals. So when you're looking at the thing so Mr. Hinder just said with Southgate, that's what you should expect because that's what you've been used to. Let's not forget, though, I've said this, that Southgate, apart from obviously 1966 manager, Southgate is the most successful England manager statistically. So clearly something he's doing is working. And people, is there a possibility that the expectations are a bit higher and they want him to win something, so people are not happy with his selections? Do you think that is the case, the angry one?
Well, yeah, people are always going to want to win something, but I think the problem started earlier than this tournament. Where obviously the fruition of his massive fuck ups is this tournament. But if you look back at it, the reason why he can comfortably say, "Oh well, I'm not sure if Toney or this person is good enough," because he hasn't been giving them chances. His remit is obviously to win something, but also it's to build for the future as well. It's got to be hand in hand. So he should have had to have been playing these players, and maybe Tony's not good enough. Maybe he's not, or maybe tomorrow's not good enough. We don't, but no one knows because you don't play them. You should be playing these guys to see them, and also so that the other guys know that there's a competition. Harry Maguire's chilling. He knows he's coming no matter what. There should be competition for places, and one or two of them might surprise you. One or two of them might not be good enough. That's the reality of it. You can't just keep it the same. It's not a club. Even at club level, you still do that.
Yeah, but you're talking about something that the horse has bolted, right? You can't say that we should have played this or we should have done that. We could have done that.
Well, I can. That's what I've just said.
That's 2 years. But we're now talking of the World Cup selection. Does he
But
then change it? Yeah, but you're asking him to completely change it now, like we're discussing of the squad now. But I'm saying we're talking about what the squad is now. Are we then saying that everything that he's done, because he, like Jay just said, and I agree, the football may not be the most exciting football we've ever seen for England, but he is the most successful in my lifetime, and we've got behind. So we're saying that come to the World Cup, we then go, right, we're going to drop everybody that he trusts and feels good in order to go, oh, this player's been playing quite well. But then if he doesn't do it...
everybody's. We're talking about two players. We're talking about 2 or 3 players that might not even play. It's just exactly. But Tony might not play, yeah?
But then why take the players that he doesn't feel he's going to play at all? Where he feels that... The way he feels that Mason Mount will be a starter, like he's been rubbish this season for Chelsea, and I agree.
So clearly, what you do when you play FIFA is you put silver and bronze players in your subs, do you? Because they're never going to play. No, you don't. You put players that are going to come in and affect the game.
It does bring the rating down. It does help.
The players have to be able to affect the game.
I've got a 76 rated right back in my team because he fits in and he plays well.
So that's the point. They have to be able to affect the game. You can't just bring people for the hell of it, for a jolly.
But you're asking him to bring players for the hell of it, where he's going to play Mount.
No, you didn't listen to what he said. To be fair, Mike said this is a fruition of what's happened in the last 2 years. He's never given
100%.
So he's never.
I was agreeing for the last 2 years, but we're now coming to the point of the World Cup, and I'm saying, should he now go? No, I'm not going to play those.
Okay, so what you're saying is, if he'd have took Tony and dropped Mount, that would make a massive difference to our chances of winning, would it?
So the way he sets up to play, yeah. Because we're talking of him setting up to play. We're not taking over and going 4-4-2.
You've got Gallagher, and you've got more players that can play the same position.
Yeah, the problem what he's done is not it shouldn't really be a choice between Mount and Tony. Yeah. Gallagher is the one who's stepped up and is really
so Mount shouldn't be there then.
Who's taking Mount's place.
Exactly.
Yeah, but in Southgate's mind, Southgate's never gonna go with 3 strikers to the World Cup. Is what I'm hearing. He was only gonna take Kane and one other. So Tony, it was always a case of Tony was gonna either Callum Wilson or Tony. Whoever was the best performing striker was gonna go alongside. He was never gonna take it.
Best performing striker is Tony, based on stats, but he took Callum Wilson. Listen. But maybe Callum Wilson suits his style of play.
And also he's been in the squad before, hasn't he? He's been in earlier squads, right?
Ivan Tony has been in the squad once. I don't know what he was doing there, cleaning boots or something. Well, England is going to be Group B. Of course, you have England, Iran, USA, and Wales. Dunk, do you see England finishing top of that group? And how far do you think England will go based on your beautiful love for Southgate?
They should finish top of the group, but it's never that easy with England. But normally, we don't generally have too many problems with getting out the group at a World Cup. There's been a couple of occasions, but we normally perform reasonably well. I think it's quite important that we do. I think if you look at the draw, we'll probably be up against the Netherlands in the first knockout round if we're runners up, and if we win our group, it's looking like we'd be someone like France in the quarterfinals. I'm just of the opinion that Southgate's had his day. I know statistically he's done well, and the last 2 tournaments have been great as an England supporter, but I don't think there's any coming back from that Euro final where he just wasn't bold enough to make decisions or change the game or affect anything. He was just a bystander, really. So it's just my opinion that's been the pinnacle of his management, and I don't think we're going to see us doing anything this tournament. So at best for me, it's the quarterfinals. At worst, it's the first knockout round.
Big Steve, what do you think?
Similar to Dunk. I think if they come up against France in the quarterfinals, I think France will beat England. The group is a bit tricky for them because if they get caught cold in their first game, it could be a draw or something like that against Iran when you want them to win, start confident, You know, it's the fact that they're getting them. It can easily be complacent walking into the first game and not being up to speed. And then, especially you start with someone like Maguire. If he starts at the back, he hasn't played a lot of football. You know, a mistake or two, and then before
The
you know, you draw
weather.
the game. Yeah, you draw the game and stuff. And then the Wales game, if there's anything on it, again, that could be a crunch game. And where England don't want to go into that game wanting to get something from it.
Well, Mr. Hinder, you're a man that believes in a lot of miracles, especially since you tipped Tottenham to win the league for the other shows. So, what do you think? How is England's group looking, and how far do you think England will go?
There's never going to be an easy game in the World Cup. I'm old enough to know that we're not going to play the fantastic style of football that we all want us to play, and it's not going to happen with the manager, B, the players that we've got. So I think we'll be resolute. I think we'll be hard to break down and hard to beat. And I see us. I'm still. I hope that we'll go all the way and win it, because I don't see there's many. To me, there's not as many good teams as there used to be, which gives us a good chance of going. But we're not going to win it, and it's not going to be fast flowing, beautiful football. It's going to be a little bit boring, a little bit dull. But I'll take that. I'll take
Okay.
that.
And the angry one.
Yeah, the only way that we do anything is if somebody has a blinder. So at the Euro, Sterling kind of pulled us through most games. If Kane or Saka or Sterling or Foden or somebody has a blinder, then you can be anybody because they're one-off games, right? It's not like you're playing two legs. But we're not going to win anything because of the manager. He just put the same team out and hope that they do something. We're a little bit tactically inept, easy to read. So really, you're just relying on individual talent, to be honest. And if that happens, then anybody can be. Like, look at Greece. They were a unit. They stuck to their team. But we're not even like that. So just hoping that someone, Kane finally has a good tournament, or somebody else, Madison maybe, and we scrape through to semis or something. But we'll
Now
see.
that you say that, we're going to do a player to watch. What player do you think is going to have a fantastic tournament for England, and of course generally across all the other teams? You can just pick one, you can pick two, whatever. But start with England. Big Steve, well, who's the player you to watch? Who's the player you think will have a good tournament or will actually affect the team positively?
If he starts, Madison. I think if he starts and he's allowed to play his game, I think he'll affect the team because he's coming in from kind of like coming in from outside. He's not been part of the camp much, so if he's allowed to come and express himself the way he does for Leicester, I think he'll have a good tournament and he'll probably be a deciding factor.
Any other players to watch from any of the other teams?
The normal names, Mbappe, Neymar. There's not been much hype around the World Cup in terms of the teams that are going to it. It's not been everything you heard about is non-football stuff. It's not. I don't feel I'm a week away from a week or few days away from a World Cup. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel like it. So you're not hearing. The only thing you can do is call out the normal names, and yeah, the only one that stands out really is someone like Mbappe. To be honest, Vinicius Junior.
Okay, Mr. Hinder.
For England, Foden, he's probably our best player. And the most exciting footballer that we've got is Kane steady. Pope, if we play him in goal, will be really, really key. Whoever we've got in goal is going to be pretty key to whatever we do. But
So the question: who's the most exciting? What are you looking forward to watch?
Looking for
Who's the player? Player to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I think our goalkeeper is going to be key. And for other teams, Musiala. Whether he gets good games for Germany's only like 19, I think, and he's been doing bits in Germany. So yeah, fair play.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. And of course, Big Dunk.
I'm going to go with Neil as well. Yeah, Foden. Another one though, he's not guaranteed to start under Southgate. Like if he goes back to what he did last tournament, it's Sterling's got his place on the left, and it could be Foden, it could be Saka on the right. Maddison might get a chance, but yeah, if I was going to pick one, I'd like to see Foden stepping up and doing bits in this tournament.
And any other player you like to see out there?
Maybe some of the youngsters, like someone like Pedri for Spain. Spain have been not great in the last couple of tournaments. So someone like that, Neil Pick Musiala of Germany, be nice to see some youngsters making an impact at a World Cup. That's always the nice story, like we had Owen and Rooney in the past.
And the angry one, your player to watch, and of course,
there's 3 players, I reckon. So everyone's gonna say Foden, Saka, even though Neil will disagree. Madison could be a wild card as well. For England, those are the 3, I think, because they have that kind of little bit of X factor that some of the other players don't. Nobody else really is like tickling my fancy. I want to see what Netherlands are going to do, but then they haven't been fantastic, to be honest. But yeah, really for England, it's those 3, I think, if they even play.
Well, we shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. The World Cup starts on Sunday, November 20th. England play Monday, the 21st at 1300 hours. So please watch that and see if Southgate is going to prove everybody wrong and go all the way to win the tournament. My last question, though, if everybody is so eager to see Maddison, where does that leave Grealish in the team? Because he was a star man. He was a star man, not with the Euros, and somebody that everybody believes could come in and make a change. If there's going to be some sort of reliance and dependency on Maddison, where does that leave Grealish? Big Steve?
Making sure that Madison's boots and tops ready for when
Alright.
he comes. Or his water bottle when he gets a water break. To me, if I'm going on what I've seen this season, Maddison will stop before Grealish.
Is there, Mr. Hinder, any chance they can play both of them? Do you see any formation that puts Grealish and Maddison in the same team?
No, I think you play Grealish first and then Maddison off. I think he does. I think that's the way that it will be. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But that's Grealish will get more game time than Foden, and then whoever he picks on the other side.
Dunk, Grealish, or Maddison, or both?
I don't think Grealish was one of the star men at the Euros. Southgate's typically used him as an impact sub. He might have got the start in 1 or 2 games, but again, let's see how predictable Southgate is this tournament, because if he's predictable as usual, it will be Grealish and Rashford on in like the 60th or 70th minute. So, yeah, I mean, obviously he could play Grealish on the left and Maddison on the right, but I don't think there's a hope in hell of that happening. So, yeah, I don't think Grealish is going to be one of the star men. He's not in massive form. I think the other players are ahead of him. I think Foden and Saka and Maddison are definitely ahead of Grealish for me.
And the other one, you start Maddison?
No. I don't think he's even going to play, to be honest. It's true.
Yeah, sadly, I agree that's probably true. Unless England get 2 wins in their first 2 games, and there's a dead rubber.
Yeah. Even then, not sure.
Do you think
There you go,
plays,
ladies and gentlemen. Okay, do you think he plays?
Yeah. Do you think he's going to put Rashford out wide, or he's going to use Rashford as a pivotal centre striker?
Out
Because
wide,
I've seen that
70th minute, always the same, always Southgate, going to do it again. Mark my words, just watch. You can laugh at the TV while you're watching it when it happens.
Yep, 100%.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is some hope for England in the studio with Mr. Hinder. Not so much for everybody else. And let's hope that Mr. Hinder's hope is big enough to take England all the way. If not, it's probably going to be goodbye, Southgate, and I will make Dunk a very happy man. Till then, let us watch and support. But till then, it's goodbye from Mr. Hinder.
Take it easy.
Goodbye from Big Steve.
See you later.
Goodbye from the Angry One.
Adios, amigos.
And of course, the biggest Southgate fan out there that you can never find. Goodbye, Big Dunk.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Martins, ladies and gentlemen. Martins.